Well, there it is, the home of Abraham Lincoln. Hey, it's Mike, and today we're actually going into the Abraham Lincoln home. Apparently you need a ticket, and it's free. So there it is. So basically what you do is you go into the visitor center down the street from home, and you say, hey, I want a ticket to the Abraham Lincoln home, and they'll give you a free ticket. So we're waiting for the tour guide, and then we'll go inside.
Perfect. So come on in, make sure everybody's in here.
Okay, now listen carefully. Ready, everybody?
Alrighty, now this is Mary's parlor. Now Mary lived entertained, and she would have her little parties in here. If they had too many people to fit in this room, they'd open these beautiful wood doors and they would use both rooms. Now when the house was little, and when they bought the house, it was just a story and a half, as I had mentioned. This has always been the parlor, but this was the main bedroom. And it was in this room that Eddie, Willie, and Tad were born. Don't lean against the walls.
Sorry. Eddie, Willie, and Tad were born
So,
in that room.
Eddie, Willie, and Tad were born in here, and little Eddie passed away. He was almost 4, and he died of tuberculosis. Custom of the day, visitations were held in the parlor and would be held here. Okay, no more sad stuff. I had to get that out of the way.
That's what she said.
Yeah, no more sad stuff. Now, in May of 1860, some gentlemen came down to visit Mr. Lincoln. Now, once they had added those bedrooms upstairs, this was his office. So Willie met him at the door. He said, "You're here to see my pa?" And he brought the gentleman in here to talk to Mr. Lincoln. Now, these men had been at the Republican convention, and they had a question for Mr. Lincoln. Does anybody know what that question might be? Oh, you do too.
Would you like to run for president?
Thank you.
Oh.
You're not even American, are you? Are you a Canadian? Oh, you are?
No, we're Illinoisans.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What was the question?
Would you like to be our candidate?
Oh,
Would you like to
okay.
run for president? Because they had been at the convention.
Getting in trouble.
You knew that, didn't you?
I was like, ah!
Now, I have a question for the gentleman here. Listen carefully. I don't want to hear the women answer this. This is for the guys. Someone just asked you a very, very important question, and your answer is going to affect your whole family. What do you say?
Ask my wife first.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Oh, it was for the men, I'm sorry.
But you would have said that.
I would have thought of it later.
It's honesty. Honesty's good.
I can always tell who's been trained the best. What were you going to say?
I think I would have just said yes and then thought, uh-oh.
You would have been in big trouble, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and he did. He did not say yes right away. 3 days later, he wrote a letter and accepted the nomination. So he didn't want to be in trouble. Because Mary would get really mad. So now, here Mr. Lincoln lives in Illinois, which then was very, very far out west, obviously. And a lot of people, you know, he'd had other positions and people had heard of him, most people. But some people still thought he lived in a one-room log cabin and with a dirt floor. So, this Frank Leslie's Illustrated newspaper sent a sketch artist to Springfield, and they sketched all the rooms in the house. And they published those. Now people can look at that. Well, obviously not a one-room log cabin with a dirt floor. It's a very nice house. Look how he's taking care of his family. He must be good at what he does, at being a lawyer and a legislator, to have such a nice house. Now, and it's not crazy. It's not a mansion. It's not like our governor's mansion a couple blocks away. It's not Gone with the Wind or anything. It's just a very nice house. So this was just one way people got to know Mr. Lincoln, that he was a good guy and that he was a hard worker. Now, look around the room. There's a lot of furniture that did belong to them. Excuse me. All the chairs here, but these two did not. Excuse me. This beautiful black upholstery is horsehair, which was the style of the day. Because Mary always knew the style of the day. Now, you guys are going to be going through the dining room. The table and the chairs and the cake stand are all original. Now there's food sitting out, kids. You don't want it. The food's been out since I was your age.
Why is it still out?
Just to show.
Wouldn't it mold by then?
It's plastic.
Oh.
I'm just teasing you. Yes, ma'am.
Why? I have 2 questions. What are the little stools for? The little tiny ones?
For
And
your
then
feet.
Just the feet? Okay. And then the second one is, why did they maybe the style of day, but the curtains, how they reached all the way to the floor?
It's for
Is it a sign of wealth?
It was the sign, no, it was just the way things, they did them then. Also, it was drafty, these houses were drafty, and I think that kind of blocked some of the draft from around the windows and from under, between when they came together.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, go ahead and go on in, I'll meet you in the sitting room.
All made out of horse.
Come on down, come on down, you can come in.
Go ahead and listen. She'll teach us everything you want to know. We can ask questions.
Now, a lot of you, everybody has. Now, your family room, sitting room, same thing is where you would go in the evening to enjoy being together as a family. So they would have dinner in there, they would come in here. Now, Mary would be over here. This is her sewing table and some of her sewing notions. And with 4 boys and Mr. Lincoln, she could sit here 24/7 and not be done working. Now, Mr. Lincoln was 6'4". You're very tall. How tall are you, sir?
6'1".
6'1", so he's 3 inches taller than you. Now, none of these chairs would really work for that tall guy. Yeah, they don't even look comfortable to me, but but what he would do, he'd take the rocker, he'd flip it upside down, and he'd get on the floor and just kind of lean into it. So he's on the floor, Mary's over here. Now Fido the dog would be in here, and Mr. Lincoln loved cats and would pick them up on the way from downtown. So there would be numerous kitties in here. Now the boys would be over here at the table, and of course during the school year, you guys usually have what at home? Homework? Sometimes you have homework. And then of course after homework, free time. Play chess, checkers, or you can play with that box.
What box is it?
That box is called a stereoscope. Now, did any of the older people here ever have a Viewmaster when you were growing up with the disc and you look in and see a picture?
Yeah.
This is early Viewmaster. So instead of the disc, you have the cards that are on the table. It goes in the top. You look through the eye holes and you see the picture in 3D, just like we did with our Viewmaster. That was the toy to have. That was the Xbox of the 1800s.
I wish it were the one today.
I know, I wish so too. And that's what the kids wanted, and it was very, very popular, and that's what the Lincoln boys had. Now, of course, you spend your evening together, and then it's time to go upstairs and go to bed. This is the coolest part, so pay attention. This is the coolest part of the whole tour. You're going to follow me upstairs to the bedrooms, but on your way up to the 2nd floor, I want you to be sure to grab onto the railing. It's original to the house. So think about that.
You could fall.
Don't grab on, you could fall. But this railing was here when Abraham Lincoln lived here. So you're going to be holding on to that railing, the very same place that Abraham Lincoln and Mary and all the boys did.
Yep.
That's kind of cool, isn't it? Okay, so let's follow me upstairs. Take your time, I don't want anybody to stumble. I want to go last because I'm kind of gimpy.
You do seem bigger. Okay, you gotta grab the rail that Mr. Lincoln. Ready? Holly, you can reach it now. Ready? Mr. Lincoln used to touch that rail on his way upstairs. Yep, that was, remember his hat? Do you remember his hat? We saw the original one at the Lincoln Museum, remember? There's his hat. We better keep going. This picture like this.
I'm not going to fall. It's okay. Come on in, everybody, so we can get started. Now, the only original bed in the house is the one in the guest room. His bed was sold when they went to Washington, D.C. You know, they had a tag sale just like we might have to get rid of stuff. And his bed was taken to Chicago by the people that bought it, and it burned up in the Chicago fire. So it's gone forever. But better than that, we have his desk. In the corner, that is Mr. Lincoln's desk. It's the desk that he wrote his House Divided speech and also his farewell to Springfield speech. Now you're thinking you're tall, and you're thinking that desk is way too short for Mr. Lincoln. Well,
Absolutely.
it used to be taller, because see, the legs are kind of spindly, and then they've been broken a few times. And when you fix them, it gets shorter and shorter. In fact, it broke when he was using it. Mary just said, throw it out in the garbage, put it out in the burn pile. And Mr. Lincoln had a friend go rescue it and fix it, and they brought it in the house. So he loved that desk. Now you can imagine that all the stuff he would have, you know, just from his law practice, getting ready to be president, he would be working very, very late at night. Made it really nice that this is his room, and Mary's room is back here. It's a sign of affluence in that period that if you had the space in your house for the husband and wife to have separate bedrooms, they did. That's all it means. And so they had separate bedrooms. He could work very late at night, and now she had the two youngest boys sleeping with her on a trundle bed that you kind of pull out during the night. And so this way, they can be in there and you shut the door and not disturb one another. So that's all it means. That's all it means. Now, in her room here, now when she moved up here from Kentucky, she brought that dresser and that little rocker. So you can check that out on your way to the back hall. Did you see the bathroom in here? Bend down.
The chamber pot in it.
That looks like what my mother had.
Really?
I'd like to get the pictures, I guess. Wonder who they are.
Is this book up here one that she had, or is this just like a decorative?
I'm sorry.
This book?
The book is not original, but it is period.
It's period.
I think the only original book in the house is down in his office. There's a book about the Black Hawk War, which he was in. All righty, why do you think the boys liked the room and not the toys? They used to do some really silly things in there. They would go and open the window, go out the window, and then they were on top of the porch. And they used to prank people and try to scare people at night and throw things and do all kinds of
Weren't they in trouble for doing that?
They really didn't get in a whole lot of trouble. They pretty well got to do what they wanted to do. Occasionally they did, but they wouldn't get in trouble for that. Now the toys, as I said, the toys did not belong to the boys, but the marbles were found in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
When they were doing diggings and
Yeah.
Good, but it made them laugh.
Now that room down at the end was for the hired girl. Mr. Lincoln encouraged Mary to get a hired girl, well, to help with the boys.
Yeah.
Entertaining, cooking, cleaning, mending. If you're going to eat all year, you have a garden, and you got to do all that. So that she did have a lot of helpers during the time that they lived here. Now, their first job every day is to go down this back stairs to the kitchen and get breakfast going. So let's carefully go down this back stairs. It's not original railing, but you're going to want to hold on because it's very steep and narrow like the other one. I'm sorry, I'm in front of you.
It's okay.
What's that for?
Don't touch it lightly enough or something.
So that would be the servants' quarters.
I don't even know.
Tiny little bed.
You know, stay around for 100 years.
Not gimped on these, they're too big.
You're doing fine.
Take care of that fish over
But
there.
those short chairs kill me, because I'd have a hard time getting out of them today.
Yeah.
What's that?
She'll tell us.
All the way down.
Looks like.
All right, now this is Mary's kitchen.
She likes to entertain.
Now, when Mary, growing up, Mary didn't have to do a lot of domestic chores because they had slaves in Kentucky. Got married then, she had to learn everything just like everybody else did. Now, she learned to cook on an open fire, and she loved it.
Your eyes, look up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming to see me. When their finances improved, Abe bought her this stove, and this was just great. 4 burners, an oven, a warming area. She loved this stove. And when they were going to Washington, D.C., she asked if she could take the stove with her. And Abe's like, "Oh, Mary, I'm sure the White House has stoves. We're going to leave this one here." And this is her stove.
Oh, wow.
Well, there you have it. the tour of Abraham Lincoln's house here in Springfield, Illinois. I want to thank the National Park Service for having free tickets. Apparently, Robert Lincoln made that stipulation with the state of Illinois when he sold the house for $1 to the state. So I want to thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later on down the road.